Part 1. The Challenge. The planet Vardis had always been known as a place of danger and strength. Towering mountains, deep valleys, and wide deserts made it difficult for any army to move freely. In its sky, 2 suns shone, making the day bright and hot. The Varshan Empire had ruled the planet for centuries, and their warriors were famous across the galaxy. Among them, Princess Kalira was the strongest. She was young, fast, and fearless. Many said she could defeat entire armies alone. Her name alone made soldiers tremble, and she was proud of it. Far away, humans had grown stronger too. Their ships were small compared to the vast Varshan fleet, but humans were clever, brave, and difficult to predict. After months of tension between the Varshans and humans, a peace summit was arranged. The leaders of both sides wanted to avoid a war that could destroy many worlds. The humans sent their best representatives. Among them was Evan Cole, a calm and quiet soldier known for surviving dangerous missions that no one thought possible. Evan did not seek glory, but he had a strong mind and quick reflexes. He had seen war and knew how fragile life could be. Kalira entered the grand hall of the Varshan palace. She wore her silver armor, polished and shining. Her long hair flowed behind her, and her eyes shone with confidence. She looked at the humans, especially at Evan. She studied him carefully. He was not tall, not overly muscular, but he had something in his eyes that made her curious. She smiled lightly, thinking it would be easy to defeat him if it came to a fight. "You cannot last a minute against me," she said, her voice loud and clear. The Varshian council laughed. Humans were often seen as weak creatures in their eyes, and Kalira's words seemed like a joke. Some humans looked down, but Evan stayed calm. He did not smile, did not argue. He simply nodded, showing respect for her strength. Kalira did not notice the respect. She only saw what she thought was weakness. She turned to her advisors. "This human does not understand who he faces," she said. "I will show him the difference between a human and a warrior of the Varshan Empire." The peace talks continued, but a small mistake changed everything. A Varshan soldier accidentally damaged a human shuttle outside the palace. Both sides blamed each other, and anger rose quickly. The leaders wanted to avoid war, but tension was too high. Someone suggested a duel. The idea was simple. If the strongest Varshan warrior could prove her power against a human, it might calm the anger. Kalira agreed immediately, eager to show her strength. Surprisingly, Evan also agreed. He did not want a war to start. He knew that if he could survive and show the Varshans the truth about humans, it might save many lives. Preparations for the duel began quickly. The arena was chosen in a wide desert, far from the cities, so that no one would be harmed by accidents. Varshan soldiers built a massive arena with shining metal walls, high towers, and platforms for the audience. Thousands of Varshans came to watch, excited to see their princess prove her skill. Humans came too, but fewer. They watched nervously, worried for Evan's safety. His friend Lena Brooks, a young engineer who helped prepare the humans' technology, tried to hide her worry. "Evan, are you sure you can do this?" she asked. He smiled gently. "I must try. Maybe this will end the fighting." Kalira trained in the arena. She moved with incredible speed, practicing her strikes. She swung her glowing blade, feeling its weight in her hands. She imagined Evan standing in front of her, weak and fragile. She imagined how easy it would be to knock him down. She did not yet know that humans were not always about strength alone. They had patience, intelligence, and courage. Evan, on the other hand, prepared differently. He did not practice flashy moves or swing heavy weapons. Instead, he studied the arena and Kalira's movements. He remembered past battles, the tricks that had helped him survive, and the need to stay calm under pressure. He checked his gear carefully. Every weapon, every tool had a purpose. He wanted to fight smart, not fast. The day of the duel arrived. The sun burned brightly in the sky, making the metal of the arena shine like fire. Vartians filled the seats, cheering loudly for their princess. Humans were quiet, watching with hope and fear. Kellyra stood in the center, her eyes shining, her blade ready. She looked at Evan. He stood calmly, his eyes steady. He did not show fear. He only watched her, waiting for her first move. Kellyra laughed softly. "Do not waste your time, human. You will fall in a minute," she said. Her voice carried confidence and pride. Evan did not reply. He only nodded slightly. The referee, a neutral figure from a nearby planet, raised his hand. "Begin!" Kellyra moved first. Her blade flashed in the sun faster than anything Evan had seen before. She aimed directly at him, her strikes precise and deadly. The crowd gasped. Evan jumped back at the last moment, narrowly avoiding the strike. He stayed calm, keeping his balance. Kellyra attacked again and again, faster and harder. The humans watched with wide eyes. They feared for him. But Evan did not fall. Minutes passed. Kellyra was shocked. She had expected him to be defeated quickly. The human did not panic. He moved with patience, using small, clever steps. He avoided her strongest attacks without showing weakness. The Vartians started to feel uneasy. Some whispered that perhaps humans were stronger than they thought. Kellyra's confidence grew into frustration. She increased her speed, her blade glowing even brighter. Yet Evan still moved carefully, dodging every strike, studying her moves, and waiting for a chance. Finally, the first part of the duel ended with Kellyra standing in the center, breathing hard, her eyes wide with surprise. Evan had survived, unharmed. The crowd was silent, unsure how to react. The princess had claimed humans could not last a minute, yet one man had stood against her for several. Kellyra looked at Evan, a mixture of anger and respect in her eyes. She did not yet admit it, but she knew the battle would be unlike anything she had faced before. Both sides returned to their quarters to rest and prepare for the next stage. Evan's calm mind and careful planning gave hope to the humans, while Kellyra's shock made her advisors nervous. They had never seen their princess face a human who could withstand her power. The duel had begun, but it was already changing the way both species saw each other. What started as pride and laughter now turned into something more complex. Respect, curiosity, and the possibility of understanding each other were slowly emerging under the bright suns of Vartus. Part 2. Preparation and Strategy. After the first stage of the duel, both sides returned to their quarters. The Vartians were talking among themselves, shocked by Evan's calm and skill. Many of Kellyra's advisors whispered that no human should have lasted so long. Kellyra, however, sat alone, thinking deeply. She was angry that someone so weak by her standards could survive her attack, but at the same time, a small spark of respect had appeared in her heart. She had never met a human who could remain so calm under pressure. Evan returned to his human quarters, where Lena and Commander Willard waited. Lena was anxious. "Evan, you could have been hurt," she said. Evan shook his head. "I observed her. I need to understand her style before I can act. The next stage will be harder." The human commander nodded. "Stay focused. Your strength is not in your speed, but in your mind. The Vartians underestimate humans, and that is our advantage." Evan agreed. He spent the next hours studying the arena again, imagining how Kellyra would move and how he could respond without risking injury. He practiced small movements, simple steps, and timing. His preparation was quiet, without show, but careful and precise. Kellyra, meanwhile, trained harder than ever. She practiced strikes that could destroy walls and jumps that could cover large distances in seconds. She ignored the warnings of her advisors that humans were tricky. She believed her skill was enough to defeat any human. Yet she could not forget how Evan had avoided her first attack so easily. She could not understand how a human could think and move so quickly without the power she possessed. As evening came, both sides rested briefly. The arena would be more dangerous in the next stage. Both Kalira and Evan knew this. Kalira prepared her glowing blade, sharpening it until it shone brighter than before. Evan prepared his tools, adjusting the small equipment he carried, and studied every detail of the arena from previous observations. The next morning, the arena was filled again. Vartians were excited to see the princess demonstrate her full strength. The humans watched nervously. Some doubted that Evan could continue. He remained calm, walking to the center with steady steps. Kalira's eyes followed him, sharp and calculating. She could sense he was different from other humans she had heard about. He had patience, intelligence, and courage. The referee raised his hand, signaling the start. Kalira moved immediately, faster and stronger than before. Her strikes created small shockwaves in the air. Evan dodged, keeping distance, careful to conserve his energy. He did not strike back yet. He knew Kalira would make mistakes if he stayed calm and waited. Kalira noticed his strategy. She was frustrated. He was not running blindly or panicking. He was observing her, learning her patterns. She tried to trick him, feinting attacks, moving in unpredictable ways, but Evan adapted quickly. He shifted his weight, adjusted his steps, and avoided the strikes. Each time she attacked, he learned more. The crowd started to quiet down. They could not understand why Kalira had not finished the fight yet. Vartians were uneasy. Kalira's pride was beginning to show cracks. She had never faced anyone who could adapt so quickly. She increased her speed even more, moving like a blur. Evan's eyes were calm, but his body moved faster than the crowd could see. He dodged with precision, anticipating her moves, using the arena's layout to his advantage. After some minutes, Kalira stopped for a moment to catch her breath. She looked at Evan, breathing heavily. "How are you still standing?" she asked, her voice full of both anger and disbelief. Evan responded calmly, "I do not fight to impress. I fight to survive and protect. Strength is not only in power, it is also in patience, focus, and respect." Kalira did not expect this. She tilted her head, unsure what to say. She realized that humans might be stronger than she imagined, not because of their bodies, but because of their hearts and minds. This thought angered her pride, but it also made her curious. She wanted to know more about how humans could stand against someone like her. The duel continued with both fighters moving faster and more carefully. Kalira tried everything she knew. She launched spinning attacks, jumping attacks, and combination strikes that had never failed before. Evan avoided them all, using careful steps, quick thinking, and simple but effective movements. Each time he avoided her strike, Kalira grew more surprised. She had never seen someone use the arena itself as a tool so well. He used walls for balance, platforms to change direction, and timing that matched her rhythm. Lena watched nervously from the human side. She whispered to the commander, "I can't believe he is still safe. He is amazing." The commander nodded quietly. "He is human. That is enough. Sometimes the strength of humans is not in power but in mind and courage." The duel grew longer. Kalira was sweating and breathing hard. She realized that brute force alone would not win this fight. Evan stayed calm, careful, and patient. He waited for an opening, small mistakes, or signs of fatigue. The Vartian crowd was now silent, unsure of what they were witnessing. Their princess, the strongest warrior in the galaxy, was unable to defeat a single human. Kalira's advisors whispered nervously among themselves. Evan saw a small opportunity. Kalira's right leg slipped slightly on a metal platform. She recovered quickly, but it was enough for Evan to react. He moved forward with a careful step, forcing her to adjust again. It was not a strike, not an attack, only a demonstration of position and awareness. Kalira noticed and frowned. She realized that humans might have more control over their movements than she had expected. Minutes turned into nearly half an hour. Kalira's frustration grew, but also her respect. Evan's patience and focus were not signs of weakness. They were signs of intelligence and willpower. She had underestimated humans. She had laughed at them before, but now she saw them as worthy opponents. The stage ended without a clear winner, but it changed everything. Kalira stepped back, her breathing heavy. Evan stood calmly, unharmed. Both sides returned to their quarters, exhausted. The Vartians began to speak in hushed tones about the human's strength. Kalira's pride was still strong, but now mixed with curiosity. She wanted to learn more about humans and their strange way of fighting. Evan prepared for the next stage, knowing that understanding Kalira's mind was as important as defending against her strikes. Both fighters had learned from each other. The duel was no longer just a test of strength. It had become a lesson in patience, respect, and understanding. Both Kalira and Evan would remember this day forever, knowing that the next stage would be even more challenging. Part 3. The duel intensifies the next day. The arena was silent except for the wind that blew across the metal platforms. Vartians filled the stands, still talking about the human who had survived the first stage. Kalira stood in the center, her armor shining and her glowing blade ready. She had trained all night, preparing for Evan's next moves. Her eyes were sharp, searching for weaknesses. She knew the human was clever, but she believed her strength and speed could overcome him. Evan walked calmly into the arena. His steps were quiet, measured. He carried only his simple gear and nothing heavy. His mind was focused. He studied Kalira, watching her movements, predicting the paths she might take. Lena watched from the side, whispering to herself, "He is calm, just calm." The human commander gave a small nod. That calm is his strength. Remember, brains over brawn. The referee signaled the start. Kalira moved first. Her strikes were faster and more powerful than before. She jumped, spun, and attacked with precision. Each blow created small shock waves that shook the metal platforms. Evan moved carefully, dodging each strike with simple steps and quick reactions. He did not try to match her strength, but instead used timing and patience to avoid her attacks. The Vartian crowd gasped as they saw the human move with such grace and awareness. Kalira's speed and power were unmatched, yet Evan did not falter. He used the arena itself to his advantage, stepping on platforms to change direction, avoiding corners that could trap him. He watched her movements closely, looking for signs of fatigue or hesitation. Kalira noticed his strategy. She frowned and increased her speed, trying to overwhelm him. She swung her blade in wide arcs and dashed with blinding speed. Evan stayed calm, dodging each strike, keeping a safe distance, and waiting for the right moment to act. She tried feints, moving one way and striking another, but Evan adjusted quickly. The crowd was silent now, watching in disbelief. A small slip happened. Kalira missed a step on the edge of a platform, nearly falling. Evan noticed immediately and moved carefully closer. He did not attack but used the movement to test her reactions. Kalira recovered quickly, but the moment showed her that the human was more than just lucky. He was calculating every step. The duel continued. Kalira unleashed more powerful strikes, using her full strength. She jumped from high platforms, spinning in the air, swinging her glowing blade in every direction. Evan stayed on the ground mostly, moving quickly and simply, dodging and observing. He avoided flashy moves, focusing on defense and positioning. The more Kalira attacked, the more she realized that brute force alone would not win. Minutes passed, and both fighters showed signs of fatigue. Kalira's breathing was heavy, but she refused to stop. Evan remained calm, only slightly sweating, using energy wisely. He had learned to survive battles by waiting for the right moment, not by attacking recklessly. Kalira decided to try a new tactic. She created a shockwave, a powerful pulse that could push anyone off balance. Evan felt the air move around him and quickly adjusted his stance. The shockwave hit the platforms, shaking them, but Evan stayed upright. The Vartians were shocked. Their princess had used her strongest technique, yet the human remained standing. Evan then saw a real opening. Kalira had moved too quickly and left her left side slightly exposed. He did not strike immediately, but moved to a position where he could defend himself if she attacked again. Kalira noticed his movement and prepared to strike. The two stared at each other, breathing hard. The crowd was tense, unsure of what would happen next. Suddenly, Kalira attacked with a spinning jump. Evan moved with perfect timing, avoiding her strike and staying close enough to respond if needed. He did not hit her, only forced her to adjust her balance. Kalira was surprised. She had never faced anyone who could avoid her attacks so patiently. She realized that the human was not weak as she had thought. He was strong in ways she did not understand. The duel reached a critical point. Kalira swung her blade down with incredible force. Evan rolled to the side, narrowly avoiding the strike. He used a platform to push off and land safely. Both were now aware that they were not just fighting for pride, but for understanding. Kalira's respect for Evan grew, but her pride made her continue. She wanted to see how far the human could go. Evan moved carefully. He knew he could not match her power, but he could outlast her by staying calm and focused. He used every step wisely, conserving energy and observing her patterns. He realized that Kalira was beginning to tire, her movements slightly slower than before. He adjusted his distance and stance, ready for the next stage of the fight. The Vartian crowd could not believe what they were seeing. Their princess, the strongest in the galaxy, had not defeated a single human, yet the human remained calm and composed. Some began to whisper that perhaps humans were stronger than they had been told. Kalira's advisors were nervous, unsure how to react. She had never faced anyone like this. After a long period of intense dueling, Kalira stopped for a moment, breathing heavily. Evan stood a few meters away, calm and alert. The silence of the arena was heavy, broken only by the wind. Kalira looked at him, eyes wide, full of a mix of anger and curiosity. She realized that humans might be stronger than she had imagined, not in body, but in heart and mind. The duel continued with careful strikes and precise movements. Kalira tried everything she knew, pushing her strength and speed to the limit. Evan avoided all attacks, moving patiently and wisely. Each time he avoided a strike, Kalira learned something new about him. He was clever, quick-thinking, and brave. She could not dismiss him as weak. Finally, the duel paused again. Both fighters were tired, breathing heavily. Kalira's pride was mixed with curiosity and respect. Evan's calm demeanor had not changed. He had survived the strongest attacks she could make and remained unbroken. Both sides returned to their quarters, exhausted and thoughtful. The duel was not over, but everything had changed. Kalira could no longer underestimate humans, and Evan knew that patience, intelligence, and courage could win against even the strongest warrior. The stage ended, but the lessons were clear. Kalira had learned that strength was more than power. Evan had learned that understanding an opponent was as important as surviving attacks. The duel had become more than a fight. It had become a test of respect, focus, and endurance. Both fighters would remember this day as the moment when humans proved they could stand against the greatest warriors in the galaxy.